It is not up to you what you learn. It is merely up to you whether you learn through joy or through pain. And that is the quote of the day. Welcome back to the Quote of the Day show. I'm your host, Sean Croxton of SeanCroxton.com. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today's featured speaker is Marianne Williamson. It's been a couple months since Marianne was on the show. I was hanging out the other day listening to one of her workshops, and this clip really stood out to me. It really resonated with me because so many of us, actually all of us, have some issue or another, probably many issues that we tend to sweep under the rug, that we try our best to forget about, that we try to act like it's just not even there. Even though it's there, we act like it's not. And the thing about it is that at some point, we're going to have to look at it. And what Marianne encourages us to do today is to look at these issues and take them on before life forces us to look at them. And so without further ado, here's Marianne.
You know, we've all heard the truth is within you. The answers are inside you. But that's one of those things like let go. Who am I letting go to, right? And it's like sometimes if somebody says the answers are within you, that doesn't make you feel better because you feel you have no access. And that's what a conversation like this does. That's why you come to a weekend like this. That's why you go to a congregational setting, be it church or any other. There's something happens in that field, that morphic field of other people seeking the same kind of wisdom, and the wisdom flows out. The wisdom flows out. You have so much information to give yourself. Your subconscious mind has so many things it would like to reveal to your conscious mind. And what can happen when we do not let the subconscious mind reveal itself to our conscious mind in a conscious way is it reveals itself through things like accidents, sickness, and other things like that. Doesn't that make sense? Like when people get sick and they say, well, you know, if this is what it took to make me stop. This is what it took to make me get real. This is what it took to make me remember what's important in my life, and I'm glad it happened. Well, that's beautiful, but why don't we just go on and do those things now so the sickness doesn't have to happen? Isn't that right? We know what happens in life when we don't get clear about these things. Because the Course in Miracles says, it is not up to you what you learn. It is merely up to you whether you learn through joy or through pain. Your issues will be healed. And the only way they can be healed is by coming up. That's why the Course in Miracles, says in the 3rd volume, and I had this experience, sometimes it's when you let God in your life at the deepest level that all hell seems to break loose. And you feel like, wait a minute, I thought things were going to get better. And you go through what the Course in Miracles calls the period of relinquishment, where it might seem to you like things are being taken away. And you come to realize the Course says you're being forced to see their lack of value. And the things that came up, the Course in Miracles says you think things have gotten worse. They have not gotten worse. It's just that before you were so anesthetized to your own experience, you didn't even know how bad they were. Now you're being forced to look at them. And sometimes that can be painful. What we're doing here today is look at it now so it doesn't have to get painful. Look at these issues now so they don't have to be these hidden subconscious patterns of self-sabotage that cause a disaster in this situation or that. If you don't have a job now, deal with these issues so that when you get a job, you won't blow it the same way if you feel you blew your job. Or if you felt you blew a relationship. Sometimes the best work we do in relationships is when we're not in them, because we don't want to be the same person going into the next one that we were in the last one. Whether it's that we chose wrongly or whatever part we have to learn. This is a time on the planet, and that's the same thing as saying, let's go for it now. Let's get this thing done. And I think that's what our generation of seekers is yearning for. It's time. We've read the books, we've listened to the tapes, we've gathered the information. Yes, we're always gathering information, we're always getting home, we're always being reminded, but there's something we're being called to now, which is a fuller embodiment than ever. And For most of us, it's not really news to us what our issues are. And if you don't know, your best friends could tell you. And it's just that it becomes like something you push to the back of a closet or push to the back of a drawer, and you haven't gotten rid of it. And you're almost telling yourself, well, I haven't thrown it out, so that means I know it needs to be worked on. But you know you have no plans to work on that thing that's at the back of your drawer. You can't make yourself throw it away, because if you threw it away, you would have to admit to yourself you're not dealing with something you should deal with. So you just stuff it in the back of a drawer, stick it in the back of a closet, which is that gap between you and who you are capable of being. It's the clutter we carry around. And as he says in the Course, when he says, my way is not difficult, it is simply different. That we can write it out on a piece of paper, see it, own it, view it. What would you have me see about myself? What is it I really need to stop pretending about? What is that aspect of myself I need to change now? Because inertia, the law of inertia, it's the tendency of the object to move in whatever direction it's been moving. So if we are not moving in a direction that is a counterforce to the ego is an insidious and progressive element. The Course in Miracles says the ego is suspicious at best and vicious at worst. It's not that the suffering of your divorce doesn't matter. It's that the suffering of your divorce does matter. It matters to you, and it matters to children. It's not that the suffering of your bankruptcy doesn't matter. It's that it does matter. It's not that the suffering of this situation or that situation doesn't matter. It's that it does matter. Not in and of itself, but your suffering matters. And so those issues that get brought to light, often by the mistakes we make, are ways that the universe is letting us know, why don't you deal with it now? And so how wonderful to be in an environment where, it takes hours, doesn't it, to sort of get to a place in a group of people where you can really get there. It's so interesting, you have an hour in therapy and you can sometimes get really deep, but there's something that happens when you spend a lot of hours with people and you all sort of get there together. I'm ready to write that letter. I'm ready to write that down. I'm ready to look at that. I'm not going to go turn on TV because I can't. I'm not going to go open my computer because I can't. I'm not going to do something to distract myself from this conversation with God and myself that has been waiting to happen. Does that make sense?